Hey, shalom everyone. I'm Amir Tsarfati, live from somewhere in Southeast Asia with the family. And everybody's asleep. Don't worry, I'm not damaging my vacation. I'm in a terrible jet lag, as you know. I'm exactly the opposite time from America, where I came from. But these are breaking news because, as you know, just less than an hour ago, an agreement was reached in Sharm el-Sheikh in Sinai in Egypt between Israel and Hamas, brokered by America, the Turks, the Qataris, and the Egyptians. And basically the mediators told Hamas, that's it. You have to agree. This is the best deal you can get, or else you will be destroyed and we will not be there to help you. And so the agreement basically is only on the first phase. And the agreement is that the IDF will pull a little bit back from the city of Gaza to the yellow line that I shared with you on the map earlier. And all the living hostages are about to be released in the next 72 hours. Finally, the 72 hours means something to someone. And it'll be a bit more difficult to release the bodies of the dead hostages because some of them are spread around and Hamas is not really holding all of them. Because they're dead, they prefer to put most of their effort in keeping the living hostages. So that might take a few more days. But basically, Israel is going to release at least 250 heavy terrorists, which is unthinkable. But again, we're paying right now for the horrific, I will call it mistakes that we did 2 years ago. So, I mean, there's payback. And the payback is this. We have to pay something back. That's payback. And we are now at the point where we can save the lives of 20 and get all the remains of the other 28 and still control most of Gaza, stay along the Philadelphia corridor to make sure there's no weapons smuggling from Egypt, and stay all around Gaza within the Gaza Strip in a deep security perimeter to make sure no one poses a threat to the Israeli settlements near Gaza. So basically, the first phase is something that will take place in the first 72 hours. Now, what is the difference between this agreement and everything else that Hamas ever demanded before? Some people say, why didn't you reach this agreement a year ago? Well, because Hamas, up until today, insisted that first the IDF will fully withdraw from Gaza, and then they will release prisoners. Well, Hamas was shown today by the mediators that there is no such a thing. Israel will not withdraw fully from Gaza. And unless they give all the hostages at once, there is no deal. All of that is thanks to 2 or 3 things. Now listen to me very carefully, because the media is lying to you. And I'm telling you, this is the truth and the real story behind the scenes. And I'm saying that knowing that many might not like me sharing that, but it has to come out. Now that the agreement is signed, it has to come out. So if you remember, when Trump was elected, it was, I think, January that he entered the White House. And the first thing he said is all hell will, the gates of hell will break loose. And Gaza is going to be destroyed if they don't release, everybody and all of that, if you remember that. Netanyahu basically received a green light and a carte blanche. I mean, go and destroy Gaza. Well, Netanyahu said to President Trump, I cannot just destroy Gaza. We have hostages there. We need to get them back. And for the next few months, basically Trump realized that Hamas is saying no to every deal, and there were so many of them on the table, with Steve Witkoff trying to broker another ceasefire and another ceasefire and another ceasefire. But again, Trump realized that the Qataris are the problem. They're the ones that are telling the Hamas, don't give up, don't give up, don't give up, don't give up. In fact, the Qataris were the engine behind Hamas. They were hosting them, they were funding them, but they also used Hamas to stand against Israel. The Qataris will have one day to pay for the things that they did, not only to Israel, but also to America. All the poisoning in the US universities, everything we see today, all the terrorists that you see in the streets of New York and in other cities around America, this is all Qatari money. So listen to what happened. Trump realized that something has to be done. He needed first to finish his trip to the Middle East. He needed first to secure some deals. He needed first to get the trust of the Arab world once again. But then, listen to this, and again, you will be very foolish not to think that Trump was in the secret of Israel's strike in Doha. Israel realized that as we move into the Gaza city and close in on Hamas, still the problem is not the Hamas in Gaza, which is almost at the breaking point, but it's the rich pigs of Hamas in Doha that are wealthy and fat and staying in mansions and living in hotels and eating in five-star restaurants. They're billionaires. They're the ones that are saying no. And Qatar is the one that helps them to say no and tells them to say no. So basically, everybody understood something has to happen. Somebody has to rattle the cage to cause the leaders of Hamas to agree and to cause Qatar to stop playing games. Now you have to understand, Qatar is one of the biggest allies of America, not just because it's wealthy, mostly because the biggest airbase, or the biggest American base in the Middle East is in Qatar, Al Udeid base in Qatar. So beyond trade and beyond, money, there is an enormous US military presence in Qatar. And so you have to understand, Israel would never, ever fire a single missile towards a country where America has a huge military base without coordinating it first with the Americans. And so Trump, together with Netanyahu, decided that it's time to rattle the cage. But first we have to agree. Israel attacks and America is saying, bad boys. That's how it has to look. And we agreed to that. Now, do you really think that we missed the target and all of the Hamas negotiating team in Qatar were alive just like that? We so successfully eliminated people in the heart of Tehran, in the heart of Beirut, in a much more secured areas than Doha. We pinpointed bedrooms and beds. We know exactly where they are. So let me tell you this. Israel basically striked Doha mostly to shock the Qataris, but to keep the Hamas negotiating team alive, so once the Qataris are shaken and they come to Trump to beg for his defense, he will tell them, now it's time that you talk to Hamas and force them to accept the deal. And that is exactly what happened. You know, if we would have killed all of Hamas leaders, there would be no one to make deal with. And it'll last forever. So I'm saying, don't believe anyone that says that Trump didn't know about it or Israel did not tell him. Not only that we told him, I think he liked the idea. And immediately, a day after, the Emir of Qatar made it to DC, begging for an agreement with America. Because he realized if a friendly country like Israel can strike so easily Doha, can you imagine what Iran can do? And so, what we're witnessing right now is the art of the deal, basically. We went all the way to Doha a month ago today, exactly a month ago, October 9. We managed to go all the way to Doha to rattle the cage, and the cage has been rattled, and Hamas now is forced to accept the deal. Trump twisted the arm of the Qataris. The Turks understood also the message. The message was clear. Israel will strike anywhere Hamas is, whether it's Cairo, Istanbul, or Doha. Everybody understood the rules of the game have changed. Trump is backing Israel. He understands who the real troublemaker is. And everybody understood it's probably for now better for us to be on Trump's side. With the power of the American economy and American military and the alliance that they have with Israel and the amazing Israeli military achievements so far, it's better for now to be on their side. And that is exactly what happened, folks. So basically, what was agreed upon today could only be possible because of what happened a month ago today. You understand that? It's super important that you get it. Now, the media will lie to you. Israel missed. Israel did not coordinate with Trump. Trump is angry with Israel. Baloney. Baloney. Everything you see now is a script, well written, well played, and well executed right now. Everything you see. Now, this is just the agreement for the first phase, which means the two heavy things that are still left on the table are not even dealt with right now. Because first we want our hostages back. We want the leverage that Hamas had gone. After this coming Sunday, everything will be different. Hamas believes that this agreement right now will actually serve as the official end of the war. That's what they believe. Where Israel says, sorry, this agreement is just for the first phase. You still need to disarm. There still has to be a different government in Gaza, which is not the Palestinian Authority or Hamas. And Israel is not going to fully withdraw from Gaza. Never. We will continue to stay along the Egyptian border to make sure that the weapon will not continue to flow into Gaza. And we will continue to be present within Gaza Strip along the perimeter, security perimeter, to make sure no one is coming near the fence. Now, Hamas will, basically all the goals of the war of Israel are going to be achieved. The question is, when will all of them be achieved? The first one, the goal of the war to bring the hostages, within 72 hours. The next one, maybe a month or two. The next one, maybe half a year or a year. But down the road, Qatar, Turkey, and Egypt made it very clear to Hamas that for now, that's the best deal they can get. That's it. There is nothing better on the table for them. Take it, or you will be completely destroyed. Make no mistake, and I have to be very clear about this. No one in Israel, nor in the White House, really truly believes that Qatar, Egypt, and Turkey wants Hamas to be destroyed or wants Israel to live in peace. Make no mistake, Erdogan wants the Zionist entity to be destroyed. Erdogan believes Hamas is not a terrorist organization. Egypt is the one that armed Hamas from Sinai, and Qatar is the one that funded Hamas. And Iran will continue and still continues to send weapons and try to smuggle weapons through Jordan and through Egypt also. So basically, it's not like the Middle East overnight becomes a paradise. But I think that what we see now, the nuances of the agreement, the implementation of the agreement, will set the stage for a broader Abraham Accord agreement. Not for too long. Not for too long. By the way, pay attention to two more active arenas that will become very explosive in the next few weeks or days even. Now that the snapback sanctions are in action, and now that Iran cannot and is not allowed to import certain things and export certain things, the US is getting ready to blockade basically the Persian Gulf, not to allow the things that Iran is not allowed to get, not to allow them to go into Iran, and not to allow the things that Iran is not allowed to export to go out. And so massive US forces made it to the Persian Gulf in the last 72 hours. Also, Israel is on the highest alert for any wrong move of the Iranians to try to avenge what happened to them in June. So this is a very big thing that is happening right now. This is why Qatar needed an agreement with America. Qatar is not afraid that Israel never posed a threat on Qatar, because we don't just strike places without terrorists. We go after the terrorists. And we actually went after Hamas in a specific house, in a specific neighborhood. That's it. But Qatar knows one thing. Iran will try to destroy Qatar. If Qatar is going to be there when Iran might be attacked by America again. So the defense agreement between Qatar and America is now mostly because of what America is planning and what the situation is now in the Persian Gulf. That is very interesting. And the last thing I will tell you, keep your eyes on Sana'a in Yemen. Now that Israel is no longer going to be actively fighting within Gaza, all of our assets are going to be diverted to eliminating the Houthi threat. And trust me, that the Saudis wants us to do that, the Qataris wants us to do that. The Egyptians suffered billions of dollars of losses because ships were not coming through the Suez Canal and provided much needed revenues to the Egyptian failing economy. Everybody wants the Houthis to be dismantled. Only Iran wants them still alive, and Hamas, of course. So Israel will have to go and strike the Houthis as well very, very soon. So war is not over. It's just that we're going to shift the attention to other places. And I think everybody understands that 90% of Gaza is uninhabitable. By the way, I'm going to post on Telegram satellite photos of Gaza in 23 and Gaza today. Basically, it's amazing to see how the 2 million people that lives in Gaza right now are now shrunk to 20% of Gaza's territory. That's where they all are. west of Khan Yunis in a place called Al-Mawasi. Basically, the rest of Gaza is being dismantled and destroyed as we speak. By the end, by noon today, before this ceasefire will come to conclusion, or will come to effect, excuse me, Israel is now busy destroying as many terror infrastructures as we can. 90% of the buildings in Gaza are destroyed or uninhabitable. The Gazans really, truly don't have much to look forward to when it comes to staying in the Gaza Strip. Many of them, and that's part of the agreement, by the way, part of the 20 points is to allow anyone who wants to leave. This whole keeping them in just to press on Israel, it's over. That's it. Now, if you really care about them, if you really want them to have dignity and future, let them leave wherever they go, wherever they want to go. And now let's see, all the countries that supported the Palestinians and said that we commit genocide. By the way, if you're a country and you say that there is an active genocide, then you are obliged to open your gates to allow people to come in to save them from that genocide. Let's see if France and UK and Spain and Ireland, let's see if they open their gates to allow the Gazans in. Let's see. Interesting. But again, and now if you ask me, Amir, do you like this agreement? I will tell you this, I don't. If it was up to me, we were supposed to destroy Gaza completely, cause everyone to leave, and resettle Gaza with Israeli settlements. That is the only language our enemy understands. I'm not running the country. I am not the leader. Therefore, my opinion matters not. That's my opinion. But in reality, if you truly read the Bible and understand what's coming next, you know there has to be a temporary peace and prosperity and safety and security era, which will precede the next big war, which is the one that Ezekiel describes. And that's the one that Iran and Turkey and Russia are going to take part of. So, biblically, in a sense, taking care of business in Gaza, in southern Lebanon, Syria, and all of our immediate area, including Yemen even, I think makes sense. Because none of them will join the next war. All of them will be defeated. The next war is with a second tier, countries that do not share a border with Israel. This war is with everybody around us. And it's not, we're not fighting against Lebanon or Syria, we're fighting against terrorists in Lebanon and Syria, and in Gaza, and in Judea and Samaria. We're going after them. We're defeating them, as you can see. All of Israel's war goals are going to be met in the very, very near future. All of our hostages are going to return, which means Hamas will not have the leverage anymore. And then, true, terrorists are going to be released from prison. But now, if we see that they're back in terrorism, we can go and kill them, or we can go and round them up and imprison them again. And we don't have any more hostages that are being held under the ground there. Look at the quick, decisive war we had in Lebanon, where we dismantled Hezbollah, and we had in Syria and in Iran, because there was no leverage there that they had on us. There were no hostages that they kept under the ground and starved them and tortured them. This is going to be the case in Gaza. I believe that just as the agreement was brokered with Hezbollah in southern Lebanon and is being enforced by Israel every single day, I don't think there was a single day since the agreement with Hezbollah that we did not attack Hezbollah targets. And it's going to be the case in Gaza as well. But that's going to be when not a single Israeli hostage is there, and will be able to do what we need to do. So again, a month, exactly a month, to the Doha strike and there is a deal with Hamas and all the hostages will be free in the next 72 hours. That could only happen because of the amazing trick that Netanyahu and Trump crafted to rattle the cage, caused the Qataris to change completely. The Qataris, not only that they change every bit of their rhetorics right now, they are even changing Al Jazeera's rhetorics. It's quite fascinating to see it. Do I trust them? No. I think they're snakes. But it seems like they're much more afraid of Trump and Israel right now than they are from not standing with Hamas. So this is it, folks. Great and amazing day. The hostages will be back. And this symbolic thing is not only that today the deal is going to be signed, which is a month after the Doha strike, but the hostages will be back exactly on the second anniversary to the last day of Sukkot of Tabernacles. You see, October 7th may have been 2 days ago, 3 days ago, but we follow the Hebrew calendar. And according to the Hebrew calendar, the last day of Sukkot, which is when the massacre took place, is right when the hostages will be back. So exactly 2 years on the Hebrew calendar. And the painful topic of 251 hostages that were held in Gaza will come to an end. Quite remarkable and amazing times we live in. So please share this. There's a lot of information on this video that a lot of people don't know, and many people don't want them to know. So share it with as many as you can. And I'll probably continue only to report when the hostages themselves are released and we see footage of them, and I'm sure you'll see it all over the internet. But I'm here with my entire immediate family. We're having a good time. I landed yesterday after 36 hours of journey to the other side of the globe. I'm still jet lagged. But again, thank you. Keep praying for us. Thank you for those who pre-ordered and just ordered Exploring Ezekiel. Everybody's getting their books right now. If you see on Instagram all the photos of the pets, I just wanted to make you laugh and smile. Everything is too serious so often, and there's nothing that puts smiles on my face more than just seeing a beautiful dog or cat. So keep sending those photos. I'll post them only on Instagram story, not to make the very, very serious people angry. All right. I love you. Thank you. God bless you.